Serge left as well. I was kind of sad about that. We got Aaron we got Aaron Baines, Aaron Baines, man, I don't know what he's gonna do. I want Slim Duck starting at the 5. Slim Duck. Shout out to Slim Duck. I love you. What it do, baby? I'm Johnny. I got Dav here beside me. Welcome back to the Eurosteppers. Today we're going to be talking about free agency. The past month, it's been a wild month. A lot of moves. Me and Dav today we're going to be talking about some of the winners and losers from free agency. And just before we get into our analysis too, we just want to give a big shout out to all our fans, followers, supporters so far.
Yes, sir.
Recently on Instagram, we hit 1K. And, we're just getting started. This is just the beginning. We have some big things planned. So we just want to say a big thank you to all our followers, people who watch the videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Drop a thumbs up below and a subscribe. And without further ado, let's get started.
All right, man. So how it's gonna work? We're gonna split up into the winners and losers of this year's draft and free agency. So how about we get started with you? Who do you got up top for the winner of this free agency?
Yep. So number 1, I got the Los Angeles Lakers.
Jeez.
And yeah,
I don't know about all that.
Well, a team that won the NBA championship, and to even get better, something hard to do, but
they did though.
100%, bro.
All right, take me through it.
So first of all, they got the reigning Sixth Man of the Year in Montrezl Harrell. He signed a 2-year, $19 million deal, and that's pretty relatively cheap as well. He was talking the other day on ESPN, and he basically said how the Clippers, it's almost as if they didn't want him. So
that's true. I did hear that.
That was a great move for them, and they also picked up, talking about Sixth Man of the Year, Dennis Schroeder as well, who was one of the finalists.
Yep.
From OKC, averaged nearly 20 points a game off the bench for them last year. So I thought that was a great pickup. They did lose Rondo, Dwight, and Avery Bradley as well. So those are definite losses. They did gain Marc Gasol, but Marc Gasol's a bum ass, so he ain't doing anything for them next year. But overall, to add those guys, Montrez is probably going to come off the bench. Dennis Schroeder could even slide into that starting point guard spot. If it isn't LeBron, they got rid of Danny Green as well, so no more choking in the playoffs. And yeah, overall, I think it's a solid pickup for LA. Another thing to note too is that Montrez is also a Clutch Sports client, so maybe we should call it, instead of the Los Angeles Lakers, the Los Angeles Clutchers.
That's true, man.
Rich Paul's bringing the whole crew there.
That's fair. I feel like LeBron's got his hand in everyone's honeypot. This guy's talking to everyone with this guy Rich Paul. I don't know. It's a little bit fishy to me sometimes. But anyways, you also forgot to mention that Wesley Matthews got picked up from my beloved team, the Milwaukee Bucks, and he went there. So that's definitely a big L for us. But at first I saw the hype around this, and everyone's saying, "Oh my God, how could a team like this that won the NBA chip get even better?" But then I kind of took a step back and thought about it, and we can't just look at teams on paper, because if we do, where does that leave us with the Clippers? Clippers were supposed to be the best team on paper last year, but did they gel well? Did they mesh well? No. And if we look at who was on that team, Montrezl Harrell, who was one of the biggest chemistry problems, got traded to the other side of LA, I wouldn't necessarily see that as a W. So until I see how this team meshes, I'm not going to say there's a W, and they're definitely not in my top 2 for winners of this free agency.
Wow. But no, yeah, for me, I got Lakers. They were my biggest winner. Dav, who was your biggest winner?
So me, I'm always repping Wisconsin. I got Milwaukee Bucks as one of my winners. I know this guy, anytime I say anything about Milwaukee's going to go off. But, bro, I think that we did the dirty work, and we got exactly what we needed. Maybe we bit the bullet a bit on trading away Bledsoe and Hill, plus 3 first-round picks and 2 pick swaps, which is basically our entire future, for Drew Holiday. But Drew Holiday is a fantastic player, and he might be the most underrated player in the NBA today. All the star players talk about how incredible he is on the defensive end, and we all know how good of a bucket getter he can be on the offensive end. Players like Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, JJ Redick, one of his teammates, have talked about how hard it is trying to get your own shot off and create, being guarded by a player like Drew Holiday, because of how suffocating he can be. So I think this is exactly what we need. Some people think that he's barely an upgrade from Bledsoe, but for me, I think that if you look at the stats, yeah, I might say that, but look at the difference in teams. The NOLA or Pelicans compared to the Bucks, obviously it's not really that much of a matchup. So if we put Drew Holiday now with Giannis, I think that we're going to see something really special happening. I think it's exactly the player that we need. So
Yeah.
that's why I've got them up top.
Yeah, no, I like Drew Holiday. Definitely, honestly, like that guy is probably like the most underrated player in the league for sure. Especially playoffs too. Produces like definitely a way, way, way better player than Eric Bledsoe.
100%.
Yeah, so I really like that pickup. Previous episodes we talked about them either kind of targeting Chris Paul or Bradley Beal. But not Drew Holiday, perfect fit with Giannis and Chris Middleton, especially with the Bucks defense. And yeah, also I kind of wanted to. I saw that you guys picked up Drew Holiday, but you guys also picked up Bobby Portis. So like, how do you feel about that?
Bobby Portis, he's a little bit of an underdog. I saw Milwaukee posting about him. They literally had it titled underdog. And, I could agree with that. I think that he's had his past issues. Obviously, basically sending someone to the hospital, but we're not going to talk about that. But Bobby Portis he's just like basically a filler role player. He'll put up good minutes during the regular season, making sure that we're resting our better players. And then in the end of the season, when we cut off playing time, we'll probably get like 2 or 3 minutes. So I'm not really that worried about him. But hey, I think that it's such a small risk getting this guy because we got him on I believe a minimum contract. So like 1.5 to 2 million a year. So it's basically like peanuts for this guy. And I think that like there's only upside in this guy because he's still young. His 3-point shot can improve. It's already above average, which is great. And his defensive work is pretty solid. So I think he can be a pretty good 3-and-D wing player. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, like as long as he doesn't 1-2 Mayweather Giannis in the face, I think you guys will be solid and hopefully looking to make it past the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah, I think for sure this roster definitely has what it takes.
I agree. And one thing I did forget to mention is that about Drew Holiday is that as you mentioned, Eric Bledsoe does go very cold in the playoffs. So it's really good to have a player that we've seen glimpses of in the playoffs, whether against the third-seeded which team was it? It was the Trailblazers, third-seeded Trailblazers a couple of years ago, or when Anthony Davis was still on the Pelicans up against the Warriors. So he definitely showed some glimpses of being an incredible player in the playoffs. So hopefully that translates into this year. Anyways, moving on. Who have you got as your playoff or free agency winner going into this next season?
Yep. So my second winner, I know we've kind of criticized these guys before on previous episodes, but I have the Philadelphia 76ers. Recently Daryl Morey from the Houston Rockets. So he got a front office job with them, and almost kind of magically overnight, it's as if he's flipped the future of this franchise around. Kind of going in or after the playoffs this year, getting swept by the Celtics. Philly's biggest need was floor spacers, guys that can shoot the ball. And Morey went out, he got Seth Curry and Danny Green. Had to give away Josh Richardson, who's a solid piece, but Seth Curry, he had an amazing season with the Dallas Mavericks. Even with the Trailblazers the year before, he's proven he can shoot the ball at a high clip. So I really like that addition for them. Danny Green as well, they were able to trade give away Al Horford for Danny Green, Terrence Ferguson, and a lightly protected first-round pick. And Al Horford, he's a guy who had a really, really bad contract, 4 years, $109 million, $109 million, and he wasn't really doing much either. Like with the Celtics, he was good. Philly, he wasn't really doing much. They didn't get their money's worth with him. So kind of being able to erase that horrendous contract and getting a guy like Danny Green, even though we've hated on him before, he can still shoot the ball at a high clip. And especially for Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, I think this Sixers team is going to be really exciting next year. And hopefully they can take that next step, get to the Eastern Conference Finals and complete the process.
Yeah, man, it's been a long process. So I think a lot of Sixers fans are starting to get fed up. And I think that Daryl Morey definitely made the right moves to enhance this process, as one might say. I think that the biggest question is this team still pretenders or are they now contenders? Hopefully that question will be answered this season. I think they've got all the pieces they need now. And hopefully, even though there's still a little bit of a problem in that clogging that paint between Ben Simmons and Embiid, I think they have enough shooters around them now to fix that problem. So I think what Daryl Morey's done, as he's done with Houston, has been incredible, and we'll have to wait and see what they can do.
Yeah, and that's an early prediction too. If the Sixers team does do well, then Daryl Morey will definitely be up there for Executive of the Year.
For sure.
Dav, who do you have as your second winner?
So for me, this team actually, like, off the rip, once free agency started, they went ham, and that team's Phoenix Suns. I've got Phoenix Suns as my second best team in free agency. So as many people know, the first big trade to happen in free agency this year was Chris Paul, as many knew was linked to rumor or linked to exits this past season. So he got traded to the Suns and also with Jaylen for Ricky Rubio, Kelly Oubre Jr., and a first-round pick. So I think that Phoenix Suns traded away some good rotational players, but they got one of the best point guards in this league. And I think that matching him up with Devin Booker and then kind of bringing back a little glimpse of Lob City with DeAndre Ayton will be really, really cool to see. So I think this team is definitely going to be a playoff team. And they might, who knows, they might cause a few upsets up that ladder in the Western Conference. So we'll have to wait and see there too.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping. I think that Phoenix team can really do damage this year. Especially with Chris Paul, who still he's proved the doubters wrong. He's still got it. I think he's like 36 or 37
35,
now.
I believe. But yeah, he's getting there. He's old.
Okay. And yeah, also I think it's also what was really important for this Phoenix team is to like kind of show, like prove to Devin Booker that they're all in and stuff.
Yeah.
He recently signed, I think last year or 2 years ago, he signed that Supermax extension. And yeah, kind of Phoenix is showing Devin Booker that they're willing to do what it takes to keep him happy, keep him there. And hopefully this Phoenix team, I think for sure, like they'll at least a 6 seed. Like playoffs, no question. They have to make the playoffs this year.
For sure.
But yeah, things are definitely going to be good there. We got Chris Paul to mentor Devin Booker as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the only downside for Phoenix, I would say, is they might lose some of their fan base, especially the females. Just because Kelly
I don't know,
Oubre
man. The fan base for Kelly Oubre is strong.
Yeah.
Don't get that wrong, man. But yeah, I see your point. I think a lot of the fan base will be moving over to Oakland. So we'll have to. Yeah, I think the front office has a lot of work to do to make sure that their fan base is strong. But
yeah.
Anyways,
and too, like one last thing with the Phoenix Suns is that they debuted their jerseys or they like previewed them and they used Kelly Oubre to model, and then 2 days later they trade him. But definitely a smart marketing move,
That's true.
So that's pretty funny. They kind of did him a bit dirty, maybe. I know Kelly, he was kind of cheesed. He didn't have some nice words to say about Phoenix's general manager after, but. It is what it is, and I think just like wherever he goes, all the females going to be attracted.
Oh yeah, they're all moving there. That's for sure.
And
one other thing quickly about the Suns and the Bucks, and the reason why I've got them both up top is that I think that they put themselves in a position with Devin Booker and Giannis to feel confident in them signing or staying with those teams. I think that there's a lot of free agency, next year free agency is looming, and if the Bucks don't perform, Giannis might be on his way out. So making sure he puts pen to paper is really important for them. So I think that this trade really cements that that they're willing to go all in for him. Yeah. So that's also why I've got them up top.
Well, and the fact that he hasn't signed that Supermax extension yet, like I'd be kind of worried if I was.
Hey man, he's chilling. He's chilling in Greece. Okay. You gotta allow the man to just chill in Greece. I think he's coming back today, and when he gets back there, you already know he's gonna be signing that paper. I know for sure he's signing that contract.
No, he better. He better, but yeah.
Fingers crossed.
And yeah, so just some of our other winners. So we just broke down 2 winners I picked, 2 winners Dav picked, and just some honorable mentions for other winners. Oklahoma City's a big one.
Yep.
They have a crazy 17 first-round picks through 2026. So hopefully they got to capitalize on that.
This guy Sam Presti is playing my career at this point. Like this guy's got 17 first-round picks, man.
Yeah.
Like I was just thinking about this. Been talking to some people. I know you and me have talked about this a little bit. Like, there's no way this guy holds on to all these picks. Like, I'm just waiting to see because next year's free agency class is going to be really, really interesting. So, maybe I think Sam Presti got something up his sleeve coming up to next year's free agency.
Yeah, and then they got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander as well. Like, personally, a huge fan of his game.
Definitely.
And yeah, he was part of that Paul George trade where they got a whole bunch of picks in addition to Shea. But yeah, this Thunder team, they have given a lot away. They pretty much blew up their whole team. So hopefully it works out. Hopefully they get some lottery picks as well. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what Sam Presti does with those picks.
Definitely.
And
the other team that we had in honorable mentions was the Atlanta Hawks. And there's been a lot of talk around Trae Young where he might be going soon. He's still in his rookie contract, so he's got a couple of years left on that one. But they've definitely made a bunch of moves to show Trae Young that they want to build around this guy, and they want to make a young, healthy, elite core around Trae Young. I think this might be one of the best attacking, like one of the best young attacking cores in the league right now. They've signed players like Bogdanovic, who's a great 3-point shot and also great at playmaking. They got Rajon Rondo, who's definitely more of a vet, but has shown that in the playoff he's a different player. He's basically like a mini LeBron in the playoffs. So he's pretty crazy.
Rondo,
oh yeah, he's crazy, bro, in the playoffs. They also got a really good forward in Danilo Gallinari, who will definitely support these younger guys and kind of like act as that leader for them, which is really good, kind of that anchor. And they also got Tony Snell. So this team definitely added a lot of young, but also old. It was a bit of a mix. They added some young and old players to help increase the depth and make sure that Trae Young feels happy and confident in staying in Georgia.
Yeah, I really love that Rondo pick. He still has it, especially for a point guard like Trae Young,
man,
who's up and coming. He's going to mentor him. And yeah, already added those guys to like a young core of Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter, and Kevin Huerter as well. So,
and John Collins too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. So yeah, hopefully this Atlanta team definitely needs to make the playoffs next year. Huge turnaround from this year.
100%.
But yeah, and also just with Bogdan too, we're talking about Milwaukee being a big winner. There was a sign and trade that fell through. Sacramento, like talking about a bum ass organization in front office. It seems like they traded away Bogdan without even telling him or even getting a contract, like okay from him first. So I
was ruining you bringing this up. I was hoping that would just sneak under the radar, but since you did bring it up. Something fishy's going on in this league, man. I don't know how LeBron's able to, lure in Anthony Davis, and I'm sure there's some contact going on with the Lakers and Pelicans before free agency started. So don't tell me this BS about tampering in the Bucks. I don't want to hear none of that BS. So I was definitely pissed off that we couldn't get Bogdan. I think that he would have definitely solidified the Bucks as being the favorites in the NBA for next season. That starting five would have been the best easily, hands down. A lineup of Drew Holiday, Bogdanovic, Chris Middleton, Giannis, and then Brook Lopez at the 5. Man, come on. That would have easily been the best starting 5 in the NBA. So I'm really disappointed that didn't happen, but we got to make do with what happened. I know that there's a lot of rumors that Giannis wasn't too happy about that. Like that was like his favorite person that he really wanted to bring. That was definitely like a possible target. Like we're not talking about all-stars or superstars here. So yeah, he definitely wanted to team up with his European comrade, but unfortunately he couldn't. So, yeah, that's definitely worrying me about Giannis signing the Supermax. So hopefully Drew was enough, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
anyways, yeah, go on, carry on.
So those are the winners. Now we're gonna get into some of our losers from free agency. Dav, who's your first loser?
My first loser would be your team, the Toronto Raptors. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. All right, so Toronto Raptors were actually, if nothing happened this free agency, Toronto Raptors were looking like another contender in the Eastern Conference again. But something did happen, and something that did happen was that they lost their big man, Serge Ibaka, someone that's been absolutely fundamental to this team's success. Like, who the hell is going to be guarding players like Giannis on the Raptors now? You got no one to guard him.
You have the slim duck.
Nah, get the slim duck out of here, bro. You think slim duck's going toe-to-toe with Giannis for 30 minutes? Absolutely not.
Bulk up, bro.
He's got I know you see him in the gym a bit. Maybe he'll get on the podcast with us. But, I think that Chris Boucher is a great player, but we can't talk about comparing Chris Boucher to Giannis. Like, there's just no one on that team that can compete against players like Joel Embiid, Giannis. Like these big men are just too much for the Raptors to take right now. And I think that getting Aaron Baines was more like a Band-Aid over a gaping wound in the Raptors organization. So I think that, and also you guys lost Marc Gasol, and you can call him
Marc Gasol's a bum.
You can call him a bum ass all you want, but he was instrumental in your playoff run and winning the chip 2 years ago. So I think that this is definitely a big L for the Raptors, and they were 100% the losers. The only dub that they picked up, and it's not really a dub because you have to overpay, but you guys got Fred Van Vleet.
You think we overpaid?
I think you overpaid for Fred Van Vleet, but I think 20 million would have been more than enough for him. But it is what it is. You guys got. Hey, I'm happy for you guys. You kept your good players. So that's the least you could have done. So my hat off to you guys. Well done. Well done.
Okay, yeah, I will agree with kind of us. You talked about kind of us putting a Band-Aid over the gaping wound.
Yep.
Serge left as well. I was kind of sad about that. We got Aaron we got Aaron Baines, Aaron Baines, man, I don't know what he's gonna do. Like I want Slim Duck starting at the 5. Slim Duck. Shout out to Slim Duck. I love you. And yeah, Freddie. We got Freddie back as well. But honestly, I think all we need to do, start Norman Powell, play OG at the 4, start Pascal at the 5. We'll be fine.
Bro,
we'll be
that's
ready
a dusty starting 5. That's all I've got to say. You're starting Norman Powell? Come on, bro.
Play off Powell, bro.
He's a rotational piece at the best, Norman Powell. That's it, though.
He averaged 16 a game last year still. So
I don't know, man. I just don't see this team making it past the second round. And obviously, they're still going to be great in the regular season. They usually are. But once it comes down to the playoffs, I think that a lot of teams are going to be hungrier than them. And they're going to have more talent. Like, it comes as simple as that. Mm-hmm. So hopefully, I don't know. There's still a little bit more time. But, yeah, Raptors, I think that they're holding in for the next year's free agency. I think Masai kind of cut the Raptors fans short, kind of hit them on the cheap, but maybe he's got something cooking up in his cookbook. So yeah, who knows? We'll see.
We always put our trust in Masai. So as a Raptors fan, I'm not really worried.
Fair enough. I would say for this year though, you guys are a little bit screwed. But anyways, yeah, that's my biggest loser in this free agency. Have you tell us a little bit about your biggest loser?
Yeah, so my biggest loser, I have the Charlotte Hornets. Especially
I don't know about that, bro.
Signing Gordon Hayward to a 4-year, $120 million contract. And Gordon Hayward too, not to disrespect and put disrespect on his name, because he did have a very, very underrated season with the Celtics. And just unlucky too. The first year on opening night 2 years ago, had that gruesome leg injury against the Cavs, and that kind of allowed for younger guys like Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown to emerge. Gordon Hayward is often seen as the 4th option on the Celtics team, especially this past year behind Kemba, Jaylen Brown, and Tatum.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he still put up 18 points a game this year, which is still, for a 4th option, that's crazy. Even I think people forget how good Utah Jazz Gordon Hayward was as well, but I think 4 years, $120 million, just for the player he is currently right now, I think that's a very bad contract. And Charlotte too has a history of overpaying players as well.
That's true.
They signed Nicholas Batum for 4 years, $88 million.
Yeah, man, that's ridiculous.
And that guy's not even playing anymore. So yeah, that kind of explains Charlotte. Michael Jordan, you guys did draft LaMelo, but Michael Jordan does need to step his game up, and that's why you can't even compare him to LeBron on a side note.
Oh my god, bro. Don't even – you're going to try to bring in his managerial career to compare these two's playing career?
We'll leave it up.
Nah, bro. Get that BS out of here. But anyways, I'm going to disagree. I think that them getting Hayward was definitely a good move. I think that you could say they're overpaying him. But if you look at the market value and what this guy was going for, if you look at other teams going for him, I believe the Celtics and – shoot, I can't remember the other team, but the Celtics were willing to offer him $110 million over 4 years. So them putting in that extra $10 million is just above market value.
Yeah,
over 4 years is not even that much money. So I think that they hit it right. Even if it's overpaying, every team was willing to overpay him if that's what you consider overpaying. So I think that them just putting an extra $10 million isn't that much of an overpay. They were going right above the market value for Gordon Hayward. So for me, I think that it may seem like a big contract, but pairing him up with LaMelo Ball might even help. He can be he can mentor LaMelo Ball and make him an even better player than he might already be. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's Gordon Hayward to the Charlotte Hornets is a little bit underrated. I think that they're still not going to make the playoffs. He might be able to be the one that pushes them over the edge, to be a playoff contender. But I don't see Charlotte Hornets getting that far. I think that they still did kind of lose in this free agency, but obviously they're a rebuilding team, so you can't knock them too much for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I still agree. I think they were a loser, and I think Gordon Hayward still a great player, but I think it is a bit too much money, and he could potentially turn into the next Nicholas Batum and the next line of overpaid players. But this point, it is what it is. Okay, moving on. Dav, who else took an L like Nate Robinson last night in free agency?
Yeah, I've got my second worst team in free agency this year has to be the Boston Celtics. I think that the Boston Celtics may seem like they got their big man finally, but on the other hand, like you were just talking about, they gave up Gordon Hayward for nothing, for not even a bag of chips. They gave up this guy. So I think that they took a really big L on a player that is definitely all-star level when he's healthy. I think that he should definitely be the third option over Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker hasn't been anything special since leaving Charlotte.
Wow.
That's my take. I think that in the playoffs he wasn't good enough. He should have been better than he was. So I think that getting rid of Gordon Hayward is going to really, really hurt this organization more than it seems like right now. On the other flip side, they did get Tristan Thompson, but I just don't see him as that much of an improvement over Daniel Tice is right now. Like Daniel Tice had pretty good moments in this playoff series against the Raptors. He was definitely very, very important and instrumental in them beating the Raptors. But I think that it's like I was saying, Tristan Thompson just won't be that much of an upgrade. So basically all that happened is they lost Gordon Hayward and slightly upgrade their big. So I see them as being the other losers in this free agency.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I'm going to strongly disagree with you here.
Bro,
I think Tristan Thompson was a great pickup for them. Daniel Tice was still good for them, but undersized. Tristan Thompson brings rebounding, shot blocking to them, which they need. And Gordon Hayward, I think he was truly the fourth option on this team, especially with how Marcus Smart has evolved. He can slide into that 2 spot. He can play Tatum at the 4, even Brown at the 4.
Marcus Smart, you think is a better fourth option than Gordon Hayward?
Like,
is that what you're saying?
Basically, I want to say that with the emergence of Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Kemba already running one, I think that Boston doesn't. There's no need for Gordon Hayward. Like, I think
Kemba hasn't been anything. Kemba, you can compare Kemba to Pascal Siakam. Both of them choked so hard in the playoffs. It is ridiculous. You're gonna tell me Pascal Siakam didn't choke. Say it with a straight face. Pascal Siakam didn't choke.
He did.
No, you can't. You can't. No. He did. He choked so goddamn hard in the playoff series.
He did.
Yeah. Okay. And so did Kemba. Once they got past the Raptors, this guy was dust. Ask any Boston Celtics fan. He was absolutely useless in the Miami Heat series. He did nothing. It was nothing. It was all Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and they just couldn't carry this team. So, I'm so surprised you'd say Marcus Smart, out of all people, is a better fourth option than Gordon Hayward.
I think for the Celtics team,
let me tell you something. When Gordon Hayward is healthy, he's the number 2 option, only behind Jayson Tatum. That's it.
No,
that's all. That's the only person that's taking.
Jaylen Brown is way better.
When both are healthy, Gordon Hayward is the second best option on that team, and he's the second best player on that team too.
That's the ultimate cap.
I just don't agree with that opinion at all. I think Gordon Hayward has proven that he's an elite playmaker. He can get a bucket getter. This guy he's a good wing perimeter defender. So I'm not going to allow you saying that Marcus Smart is a better fourth option than Gordon Hayward.
I guess we'll have to disagree. We'll have to agree to disagree.
Nah, I can't even agree to disagree with you. Too much of a buck to you. But anyways, who did you have as your second worst team in free agency?
Yeah, it's my second loser. I have the Houston Rockets.
I agree.
And yeah, this team's future, beginning of this year, the future like promised when they acquired Russell Westbrook, pairing him with James Harden. Now, Daryl Morey left. You have your 2 superstars reportedly asking for trades. James Harden can go to the Nets. That's a whole another story that would turn the league upside down.
Yeah.
But yeah, these 2 guys asking for trades, and right now you're looking at Houston, who gave away the whole, I think 3 first-round picks to get Russell Westbrook in the first place. Now if he walks, I think he still has 2 years left on his deal, but what are you going to get back for Russell Westbrook, James Harden as well? They also traded Robert Covington for Trevor Ariza, and Robert Covington was already a great piece for them. So if I'm looking at this Houston team right now, they do not have what it takes to win now. Future drafts, it's not like they're going to be able to rebuild through the draft. So this team, there's a lot of question marks, and it's very sad to see, especially if James Harden stays there. I want to see James Harden win a championship, and Houston is not the place. They're going to be, they're trending downwards right now.
let me just say something quick. I'll agree with basically everything you said, but did you really just say that you don't know what the Rockets can get for James Harden? What, you don't think that you don't think this guy has?
Yeah,
That's what
no,
you just said.
that is true. That is true.
But you don't think that they're gonna get?
Mistake on my
They're
part.
gonna get the whole damn house and the kitchen sink for James Harden. Are you kidding me? Teams would be groveling on their feet to get a player like James Harden, and you already know that the Nets would have to give up their whole
Yeah,
bench to get this
yeah.
guy.
No, that
So
is true.
even this, I know Philly was into him. I know for sure that Daryl Morey wants to have this guy back with him. So if he wants him, I know that Tillman Fertitta is not a fan of Daryl Morey, so there's definitely some bad blood there. Probably won't happen. A deal won't happen, but yeah, if he went there, they'd have to give up Embiid or Simmons for sure. There's no way you're keeping all three of those guys together. So
Yeah.
but yeah, the Rockets are definitely losers. It's hard to believe that both of these superstars want out. They just got Westbrook. So him already saying he wants to leave is pretty tough for that organization. And these two players, they love each other, but they don't want to play together, which I find kind of strange. But yeah, there's only downside for this organization. They gave up all of their picks, so they have literally nothing for the future to hold on to. So yeah, they can't even what's it called, tank. They can't even tank in the league because they're not going to get anything because they have no picks. So.
Yeah.
So it's definitely looking really tough right now for the Rockets.
Yeah, and even the thing, 2 years ago in the 2018 Western Conference Finals, Game 6 against Golden State, they were up. They missed 27 straight threes. To go from there to where they are now, like they could have won. They could have won it all that year. So, yeah.
Yeah, man, it's tough. Moving on a little bit. I know we both talked about this team a lot, and they were definitely both of our honorable mentions. The other side of LA. The LA Clippers, we both have them as big losers, but not good enough to be the loser of the draft or the free agency. Sorry. How about you tell us your reasons why you thought the Clippers were so low or so terrible this free agency?
Yeah, they gave up Montrez, who sixth man of the year. Great piece for them off the bench. Arguably their third best player, the third best player on that team. And yeah, just with this Clippers team too, I think it's very interesting just to see like. Even in today's NBA, like how quickly things can turn around. You like from the beginning of the year, you got championship contenders heading into the playoffs. Then right now, you got after they're choked to the Denver Nuggets, you got tension in the locker room.
Yeah.
Montrez is out, PG choked. People are questioning whether he's a superstar, which he still is a superstar, I think.
Yeah, I'll agree.
I think they'll be fine for next year. But they also gave away Landry Shamet, who was a great piece for them. Was like a great shooter for Luke Kennard, who isn't that much of a downgrade, maybe like a slight downgrade, but in terms of a championship contender team, just I wouldn't say their free agency was terrible, but just from where they kind of started the season to now after free agency, they've definitely dropped off. And I think it's just very interesting to see like how quickly things can turn around.
Yeah, I actually think you sugarcoated a little bit for them. I'll agree with everything you said, and I just want to say one thing, a little bit of perspective right now. We know that Kawhi and PG run that organization. So if they wanted Montrez, they would have signed Montrez. So I think we both know that they didn't want Montrez. So I don't think they had that much of a problem of getting rid of him. One thing you neglected to mention is that they did get Ibaka, and for me, I think that Ibaka was definitely a big upgrade for them. But they still haven't addressed the biggest need in this franchise, and that's getting a good point guard. Exactly. So we know that Patrick Beverley can't be the one to run the point. There's no way this guy is a good enough ball handler or a good enough facilitator. Lou Williams can do it, but more as like a role player, not really as a starting guy. I think there was actually a lot of talks about Lou Williams leaving, but until they get that main facilitator point guard that can take care of the ball really well, this team's a loser for me.
Yeah, hopefully they can get like Russell Westbrook or there's talks about Rondo going there, but yeah, definitely for this team to kind of win a championship, they do need a point guard for sure.
Definitely. All right, guys. So thank you for tuning in. Next week we're gonna have a guest on, still undecided, but we'll let you know soon enough. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at the Eurosteppers Podcast. Make sure you check out our Twitter. We're posting there sometimes at the Eurosteppers Pod. Also, once again, thank you for helping us reach 1,000 followers on Instagram. like Johnny said, we're just getting started, and we can't wait to keep growing with you guys. We'll keep you updated on any news that we've got coming up, and make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Peace.